Hello and welcome. My name is Jan Potsman, and I'm the Assistant Director uh, at the CSUN Career Center. I've played an integral role in the conceptualization and development of CSUN Career Link, the Career Center YouTube channel, and the Career Center Innovation and Interactive Lab. Through partnership, I have led the charge to engage students through immersive technology and have an established and successful social media program for the Career Center. I am experienced career counselor with a master's degree in counseling and over 20 years of experience in career with a focus on internships and over 15 years experience providing vision and expertise to develop career readiness through multimedia. I'm an advocate to advance learning through the education, facilitation, and promotion of internships. I believe it's essential to have a futurist mindset in career because change is constant and student expectations for advanced technology is the norm. Thank you for coming to Internship Roadmap from start to finish. So Anna's just launched our first poll. So if you could please fill out the poll for us. Okay, a few more folks, if you could fill out the poll. We have 50 folks on the call. Just a couple more people. And if you could also monitor the wait room, that would be great. Okay, so let's take a look. We have some people that it's brand new to you. We've got a few more people that have a little bit of knowledge and a couple more people that have some knowledge. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and share the results for everyone to see. And we will go on from there. Okay. Okay, there we go. So what is an internship? An internship is an opportunity for you to get some experience. And as you can see, it says it's a pre-professional career training experience. This typically internships happen before you graduate. There are sometimes, occasionally, there are internships after you graduate, but for the most part, they happen before you graduate. It also allows you to apply what you're learning. Okay, so whatever you're learning in the classroom, it allows you to apply that. Okay. So why do one? It's a way for you to get some hands-on experience. Like we said, apply your knowledge. It helps you develop some career readiness skills that are really necessary for the workplace. And that is really what employers are looking for. So it's a way for you to test things out and make sure you're on track. Sometimes you take an internship and you find out, oh, this is not for me. And what a great thing to learn in a couple of months instead of working throughout your whole career here at CSUN and then graduate and then apply for a job and find that, oh, that's not for you. Okay. And then, of course, it's a connection with the job. Okay. So how do you find an internship? One way to find an internship is going through CareerLink. And inside CareerLink, there's two ways that you can access internships. One way is through Handshake. There's also another way you can go into, let's see, where am I here? Job search preparation. This is where you're going to find information on networking and resumes. You can see a wide variety of information here. And then you would go into Handshake. Handshake has a great deal of information. So not only does it have information in this Handshake jobs, internship, and more, you can find a LinkedIn job and internship database. So you could go into LinkedIn. If you don't have an account, I'm going to strongly encourage you to create an account. But there are postings for internships and jobs inside LinkedIn. Also, we have our own jobs in real world database. So I'm going to click on that briefly so you can see. So you can go through here and look for fellowships, internships, and jobs. You can put in a search term in here. Let's say, what do we want to put in here? Film. I'm going to put in film and let's see what comes up. Let's see if we find an internship. Okay, so you can see Activision Blizzard opportunities are in there. America Cinematique, volunteer opportunities, AFI, the American Film Institute. So there's a wide variety. You can search by different areas. Let's say you're interested in accounting and finance. So we can go there, accounting and finance, and it'll bring up other, film is still in there. So let's go ahead and put finance in there. And let's see what we can find. So accounting.com, American Express has some opportunities. It's in alpha order, so you can take a look and see what you can find. Deloitte, Ernst & Young, IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, Liberty Mutual. So there are a wide variety of internships in our database that we've actually created for you. Okay, so let's go back to real world experience and get that back there. Let's go to CareerLink there again. And I want to go back into the Handshake card. You can see Handshake, which we'll go into in a little bit, but also there are some other, databases in here that can be very valuable for you. One is BuzzFile. BuzzFile, you can go in and you can research a company. So let's say there's a company coming up to the job fair and you want to learn more about them. You can go into BuzzFile. You can find out more details about that organization. Then there's Uniworld. Uniworld is an organization. Let's say you want to work overseas or you want to work for a company. Let's say you want to work for a Swiss company and you want to work in the United States. Well, guess what? I'm not sure if you know about Nestle, but Nestle is actually a Swiss company that has offices that are operating in the US. But Uniworld also shows you companies that are foreign companies that you can work with overseas. So it's a really great resource for you. And then in addition to that, there's Going Global. So Going Global is a website where you can learn about different organizations, as well as it provides you career guides and guides, city guides. So you can find out, oh, what is it like in Madrid? Oh, maybe you want to work in Madrid and you want to learn what the foreign exchange rate is, or you want to learn how many opportunities, what does it cost for an apartment? Those kinds of things, as well as searching for internships. Okay, so now we're going to go into Handshake. So let's go into Handshake. And if you're looking for an internship here, one of the things that you'll want to do is, this is actually a profile that you have. So when you're inside the profile, you can see what's going on. So here are some events that are upcoming, and you can see they're all posted for Internship Week. And in addition, you can see, you can connect with employers there. Here's some jobs recommendations for me that they've Handshake has profiled for me, as well as some other information. But I'm just going to click on jobs. So I click on jobs at the top of the page, and it gives me a list of jobs. But I'm not just, it gives me some internships it's posting, but I just want to see internships. So I'm just going to click on internships. So again, you can see various different internships. You notice that there's quite a few that have system test engineer. That's because I set my profile up to as an engineering student. So you will see things that have been sent to me based on being an engineering student. But let's say I'm looking for something in, let's see what we can find in entertainment. Let's see what comes up. So the first thing that came up was sports and entertainment event management. Oh, that might be kind of interesting. If I want to look at that, I can just kind of scroll down and take a look at the actual event. Actual position itself. I see it pays $22 an hour. I see the name of the company, and oh, look, they accept OPT and CPT. That means if I'm an international student, I can come and work for them as a student. Okay, so it just gives me the role description and a little bit more information. So that is how you can use Handshake. Okay. So I'm going to go on to the next slide here. So one of the resources that we're looking at here, where are you going to find internships? So I showed you some of the resources already within the Career Center and what we do. Another resource for you would be faculty. So you can speak with your faculty members. Most of the time, faculty that run internship programs have maybe 10 different employers that they work with regularly. So you can talk to them, and they might give you a referral to one of these particular opportunities that they have available. In addition to that, there's networking. So let's say you come to an event and you talk to people that are at the event, and you find out, oh, well, this type of opportunity is available. Or you go to an information session and you learn more about what that company has to offer. So again, that's a networking opportunity. Another way you can find out about internships is through social media. I already told you about LinkedIn and how LinkedIn has opportunities right on their site. Well, sometimes people will advertise internships and jobs on their own social media sites. So I happen to know my niece, she got a job that way. She found that they were a company had an opportunity. She applied for the opportunity and interviewed and was hired. So you could find it on Instagram. It could be on any other social media site. Again, as I mentioned, Career Center events would be a place for you to connect with different employers. It could be at a job fair, or you could connect with the employers, like I said, through an information session. We also have over 200 clubs and organizations on this campus. So that would be a great place for you to network. Many of those organizations will bring speakers in, and you can connect with the speakers. If not, maybe you as a member want to bring a certain company in and reach out to the person that normally connects to the employers. They can bring in a speaker for you. So I also said clubs and organizations. There are many professional organizations out there that have student chapters, or maybe have like the American Marketing Association. They have a student chapter on this campus. So you could join that campus club, but also you can join the professional organization, the American Marketing Association, but pay a student fee to do that. So they're typically very low fees for you to join. And then you can connect with all the people within the organization. You can either attend their events, or maybe connect through their database. So in addition to that, there are job and internship websites. So we will talk more about that as we move forward. Okay, so another way for you to connect is through informational interviews. And for some of you, that may be new. For some of you, you may know about informational interviews. But the reason so an informational interview is your chance to really connect with someone inside a company that can give you some information about career paths, and being able to share the information that they know about what it's like to work within, let's say, Northrop Grumman. So for engineering, let's say you're interested in an engineering internship, but you want to learn more about what it's like to work for Northrop Grumman, which is a large aerospace company. Informational interviews are typically 20 minutes or less. Most of the time, the interviewees, the people that you are interviewing, are interested in you. So they're going to ask you some questions. You may want to have your resume available, so you will be able to share your resume with them, but only provided if they ask for it. Because it's more about asking information from the actual speaker. So one thing that you want to do is be professional. We do have on our website, in CareerLink, you will be able to access questions for informational interviews. So if you're not sure what to ask, you can go to that list of questions and come up with the questions, and you can ask the questions like, what's it like to work in the company? How long have you worked there? And what do you like best about working there? Those are some sample questions, because you may learn something about working in the company that you really like, or you may learn something that isn't going to necessarily work for you. So another way for you to connect with somebody is if you go into LinkedIn, you can connect with people through their company. They have an account where you can learn about their professional bio. So I recommend this really highly, because once you're done with your informational interview and gathering information from that particular person, you can ask them for a referral to another person. So you can set up another informational interview. By doing that, you build your network, and you do that by just asking people questions. So rather than being interviewed yourself, you are actually interviewing other people. And that tends to be a little bit more comfortable than being on the spot being interviewed. So I recommend that you keep in touch with the people that you interview, because when it comes closer to the time when you want to find an internship or you want to find a job, you can reconnect with them. And honestly, by letting them know, oh, I'm just about to graduate, those people will be in your corner because you've kind of posted them and let them know what's going on with you. Okay. So next question, what can I do to make myself more marketable in the workplace? So one thing that you can do that's really, really important for employers, that is to build your career readiness skills. And those are skills like you see posted on the screen: adaptability, leadership, teamwork. And it's not just knowing the words and knowing the terms, it's really having the skills. So like in communication, do you speak well? Do you write effectively? Employers are going to want to know this information. It's very important to them. Creativity is a skill that's very, very important in today's workforce, because things change so quickly. If you are creative, you will be able to gain new skills and then also adapt to new environments. Because as you know, we recently were in a pandemic. Employers would want to know, are you able to adapt? Are you able to work virtually instead of in person every day? Those things are important for an employer. Can you solve problems? Most of the time, you're going to be confronted with various problems when you're working on the job. So can you solve those problems? And then, as I mentioned before, getting your profile up on LinkedIn will make you more marketable. And not just having a profile, but actively using that profile, posting on the profile. Those things are very important for internships. Oops, let me go back here. Oops. Here we go. Something that's important is for you to have a nice, clean resume. You will need this to apply for jobs. You will need a cover letter. Some jobs will accept just the resume and not the cover letter, but you will need to have an updated resume. So what I encourage you to do is to bring your resume into the Career Center and have us edit it. But for a college grad that's a recent grad, employers are looking for a one-page resume. So a clean copy. So you want to make sure there aren't any mistakes in there, any typos, any the alignment is appropriate, because sometimes when the alignment is off, the employer looks at it and goes, I've already got 5 other resumes that I'm looking at for this job. Maybe I'll skip over this one. Have it critiqued by others, because even though you critique it and try to update it, sometimes what happens is that you look at it so much that you don't see those mistakes anymore. One tip that I do have for you is to take your resume and turn it upside down. So you look at it, it looks like a design rather than words on the page. And when you turn it upside down, you can see any alignment issues that are off, and you can catch mistakes in a different way. So that's just one of my tips. But also down below, you can see the different categories that I would say are recommended. You can create any category that you like. I'm not saying that you will have all of those on your resume, but they're just some samples for you to have on your resume. Of course, you're going to need your name, your phone number, your professional email, your LinkedIn address, if you have a LinkedIn address. And that's why I also encourage you to have a profile set up. If you have, depending on who you are, you might have a portfolio. If you're a graphic designer, you're probably going to set up a portfolio, and you may create your own website. So I would add that, especially if you're in the arts, you're going to want to have a website link there. Your education, your skill set, your experience, and then some of the other additional categories there too. You want to have your jobs on there. If you volunteered somewhere, you can put your volunteer information. If you held a cabinet, let's say, in a club, if you were in, I'm trying to think, I'm blanking right now, but they have many different clubs in different areas. So let's say the Student Finance Association. If you were a member, you want to put that you were a member. What did you do when you were in that club? You want to go ahead and write about it just as if it were a job, but make sure it's clear that it's the club. So you can bring your resumes in to the Career Center. We have virtual days, days where we critique resumes, and we also critique them in person. So thanks to the pandemic, we have two options for you now. So you can check out the Career Center website, which is csun.edu/career, and you can see a lot of our resources that we have there. So that's, you can find out when our drop-in hours are. Oops, sorry. Okay, so we also have social media. So we will post information about, like, for example, Internship Week. We posted information about Internship Week on our social media page. And these are some of the things that we post on our social media. So I recommend that you go there and sign up and follow us, because we also have information about career readiness skills. We have videos, we have infographics, we try to provide you some inspirational and motivational quotes. We will also have some recorded videos for Career Center tips and articles. So please follow us on social media. Okay. And then in addition to that, like I said, csun.edu/career, some alternative websites. I had mentioned that earlier in the presentation. There are a variety of different sites where you can search for jobs, including and search for internships, including, of course, Handshake, and then Glassdoor, Google, Indeed, internships.com, and I mentioned some of the others there. Idealist.org deals with nonprofit organizations. There's also LA County has internships. So they have a lot of different opportunities for you. And so that is, that kind of wraps the presentation. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. and hopefully we'll have some questions. You can go ahead and post them in the chat for us. Okay. And I'm going to stop sharing here. So we have 67 people on the call. Can we post the second? Thank you. So please answer this question for us before we go to your questions. Please, we want to know what you've learned, and this is very important for us. So if you could please answer the question there. What is your level of knowledge regarding internships after today's session? Okay, how are we doing? Few more folks? Okay, some questions are coming in. Great. Keep posting them. Okay, I think it's time to end the poll there. And we'll share our results. Well, it looks like we've had some people, definitely people have learned about internships today. That's great for us to hear. And I'm going to go ahead and go to the chat. Anne, are you there? Can you read the first chat question?
Hi, Jan. So, yes, Molly asks, can our existing job count as an internship?
Typically not. I would say 99% of the faculty would not approve it as an internship. And also internships are different from jobs in that they have intentional learning goals. And that's not necessarily set forth in a job.
And the next question is, where can we find the career link in Career Center website? And I can provide the link to that.
Okay, so Anne will put that in the chat for you. If you go to our homepage, you'll be able to see an image that says career link, and you can just click on that. Okay, so let's see, there's lots of questions. The next questions, Anne?
Yes. Do cover letters need to be personalized to the job I'm applying to, or do I make a general one about myself?
Cover letters are personalized to the job. If you're going to write one, you need to personalize it. I can tell you, I've received cover letters before that have said, dear food service coordinator. And I'm like, well, I'm not a food service coordinator. So I don't, when I get that and it's really all about the person's food service, it's really, it makes me feel like the person didn't care enough. So yes, please personalize it. Okay, next question.
Okay, and this person says that they graduated from CSUN in 2016. Can they still apply for internships? Their career transitioning from finance to tech.
You can apply for them, but most of the time, as I mentioned earlier on, most internships are for students that you're enrolled in school. If you want to apply for an internship and you need to be a student, I recommend that you enroll in community college, because they do offer like a 1-unit credit that you can take through some of the community colleges, and that way you will be a student when applying. So if you really want that internship, that might be a path for you to try, because yeah, that would be my recommendation. Okay, next.
Okay, and someone asks, what exactly is a cover letter?
A cover letter is an introduction to you. So cover letters are, when you submit a resume, resumes tend to be pretty dry. You can put a lot of information in there, but a cover letter is more of a personalization, and also how what you've learned will apply to the job you are applying for. So, and you can also talk about you can also talk about the employer and why you want to work for them. Certainly that is something that employers would like to hear. Okay, next question.
Okay. And someone is asking if you can repeat some of the questions you would ask for an informational interview.
Oh, the best way for you to find, I mean, I could repeat them, but you can find a list of at least a dozen questions inside CareerLink. If you go into CareerLink, and informational interviews will be inside the job search and more card. I believe it's purple. And if you look in there, you will find more details about the types of questions that you would ask in an informational interview. Think about what you want to know. And start there. But it could be about the person. What do they like about their job? What do they like about the industry? What do they like about working for the particular company that they work for? But those types of questions you'll find inside CareerLink. Okay, next question.
Someone asks, what is the difference between a fellowship and internship?
That's a good question. Fellowships typically are related to internships are too. I'm like thinking in my head. Fellowships oftentimes occur post undergrad. Most fellowships might have an association with if you were studying and getting your master's degree, or after your master's degree. That is that's one of the differences, but it's 99% of the time a fellowship is tied to your field of study. And let's say in your master's degree, you have a special project you're working on. It's tied to that particular special project. Okay, next question.
Yes, Jan. Next question is, how much experience do internship recruiters typically expect?
Ooh, that's a really good question. It depends on the internship recruiter, and it depends on the internship. So if you're looking for an internship at Universal, okay, they're probably planning on, they would like to see that you've already had some internship experience somewhere else. That's typically not the first internship people apply to, because it's a bigger program. So let's say you got some experience, let's say maybe it's finance that you're applying to, and you got some experience working in your local bank. Then you might want to apply for that internship, that finance internship at Universal. Okay. Next question.
And next question is, can you get paid for internships?
Oh, yes, absolutely. In fact, I strongly encourage you to get paid for your internships. You can, when you're on Handshake, you can search for paid internships only. If that's your interest. You will find more unpaid internships in nonprofit organizations, sometimes in government settings. You'll find more unpaid internships. In a for-profit company, I hope for you to find a paid internship.
Okay, and someone wants to know if there are any tips for setting up intentional learning goals.
Okay, I'm going to come back to that in just a second. One thing that I want to mention to you are micro internships. We do have a session on micro internships. I believe it's on Wednesday. So micro internships are all paid. Those are short-term experiences. So they're shorter than a typical internship is the length of a semester. So 10 weeks to 12 weeks, something like that. Semesters are 15 weeks long. But a micro internship, it's the number of hours you need to complete it. So those are all paid. So I also encourage you to go to that session and learn more about micro internships. Now, Anne, what was that next question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, the one for setting up intentional learning
All
goals.
right.
Yes.
If you are choosing an academic internship, so if it's going to be part of your academic program, you will be required to create those intentional learning goals, and you'll work with your faculty members on those goals. So when I say intentional learning goals, what I mean is, what do you want to learn while you're there? So you want to make sure the employer knows what it is that you want to learn and what you want to get out of that internship, as well as what their expectations are of you. And so one goal may be you want to learn more about, let's say you get a position at Activision Blizzard, and you want to learn more about designing for video games. You can put that information, you write that information into your learning goals. So when you're selected, you want to make sure that you get out of it what you want in that particular internship. I hope that helps. Okay. Do we have another question?
Yes, Jen, we have a few more questions. So,
Okay.
how long does it take for the virtual drop-in to return your resumes? And is it a virtual one, or do they email you their notes at a later date?
Oh, that's a really good question. So in virtual drop-ins, you actually come into like a Zoom room. You come into a Zoom room and you're seen individually by a career counselor or one of our career peer advisors. And they actually look at you'll bring your you'll bring your resume up on screen and they'll review it right there with you. So you will be able to take notes along the way. So it's actually, you'll be taking the notes while they're giving you some feedback. Hopefully that helps.
Okay. And if you don't have any work experience, would it be harder for you to get an internship? Someone asks.
It depends on the internship. As I mentioned before, if you were applying for an internship with a large company, let's say Boeing, it might be a little bit harder because you are competing against other people that maybe have had some experience already. And so what I suggest is for you to do more than one internship and to apply for a smaller company to start and then go on to apply for the bigger companies later. If you were to go to work for Boeing's internships are paid. And so, so you will get paid for your internship. Does that help? I hope that helps. Okay, next question.
Yes, someone wants to know, what is the difference between co-op, internships, and opt or OPT?
Okay, good question. You must be an engineering student. So co-ops are something that's very traditional, typically in engineering, sometimes found in business. Disney actually has co-op programs that, and there are lots of engineering firms that have co-op programs as well. But the reason why I mentioned Disney is because Disney has the co-op program. It's it's 6 months full-time paid. They prefer that you are not in school while you are doing this. So typically a co-op program runs from June to December or January to June, or excuse me, July to December, January to June. And so you would miss one semester while in school, but you can gain a lot of experience. And then you go right back to school the next semester. So let's say you decide to take spring semester off, then you come back for the fall. And so you miss one semester, but you've gained all this rich experience. And then once you have that experience, you can apply it. All of your courses that you're taking become so much richer because you're able to see it in action by going into that co-op. So I mentioned Disney because they have both internships that are in business and in engineering. So that's why I happened to mention them. You asked me co-op. An internship is typically more traditional. So it would be 20 hours or less. It would be the course of a semester. So like I said, 10 to 12 weeks. And then you said OPT. So OPT is OPT actually, and it stands for Optional Practical Training. Optional Practical Training and Curricular Practical Training are for international students. So curricular practical training is related to an internship. So let's say your major is, pick a major, let me see. Let's say it's graphic design, okay? So if you have inside that major, let's say there's a required internship for you to do. If you have a required internship, then that's also, if you were an international student, that could be your curricular practical training, which means you could work in a company and gain experience. Let's say it's Northwestern Mutual Financial Network. So you get an internship with them. You're able to take the internship and get paid as curricular practical training. Now, optional practical training occurs after you graduate. You apply for it before you graduate, but optional practical training, a little bit of a tongue twister there, allows you to work and get a work permit to work in the United States for a full year, up to a full year after you graduate. Okay, I think hopefully that's answered all of those questions. Next question.
Someone is a returning student, generally older than most who would be applying for internships. How should I go about, I think they're meant to say breaching that subject with potential internship employers?
That's a really good question. I think we see more and more people transitioning to new industries. And so it's not so unusual. One thing that they're probably going to see first is your resume. So when you have a resume, you don't want to go back too far. You don't want to, let's say you've been working in one industry for 20 years, you probably don't go back 20 years. You can go back 5 years or at the most 10 years of experience that you have on your resume. Some employers really will want to hire somebody that has some richness and experience in other areas. Also, if you're in person and let's say you come to our job fair or one of our information sessions, you just introduce yourself. You say, hello, my name is, I'm recently, I'm going back to school to explore other industries, and I'm interested in perhaps doing an internship for your organization, and just telling them a little bit about yourself, because you bring things to the table that that a recent grad or an undergrad that might not have, a traditional age undergrad might not have. So you bring that richness. So keep that in mind when you're talking to people. Okay, next question.
Okay, and the next question is, can you apply for an internship outside of your major? For example, can you apply for one according to your minor?
Yes, you can, but if you want academic credit for that internship, you would have to consult with the department. So when I say the department, I mean the department where you're doing your minor. And do they give internship credit for that? If not, if you're, you can also apply for internships where you don't have to get academic credit. But if it's a company, if it's a for-profit company like Disney or like US Bank or any other for-profit company, they will need to either pay you for your internship or they're going to have to give you internship credit, but you need to verify if you can get that credit. Hopefully that helps.
Okay, and someone asks, what does US work authorization mean for international students in the job description?
It means that you need to either have a green card or you have some form of work authorization where you can get, where you can have a work permit, where you're permitted to work in the United States.
Okay, and someone is finishing their master's degree in computer science this semester, but they do not have any work experience due to the pandemic messing up their life plans. Would this complicate the process for applying for them?
Yeah, that's tricky. I'm thinking about our students that are graduating and didn't really have an opportunity to get that experience in an internship. What I would do is make sure your resume has updated skills. Those, how I talked about the soft skills or the career readiness skills. Make sure you have those skills on your resume. And when you talk about those skills, talk about if you've had any kind of job, talk about how you've applied those skills. So let's say it's teamwork. Maybe you got a job as a barista and you work on a team. So talk about those teamwork skills in those types of jobs that you've had, even though they aren't seemingly career related. You can show some of those skills. Also, let's see, where are we in the semester? We're already at the 27th. The other thing that you can do is get some, if you notice, Sarah, if you came to our last Handshake A to Z, she talked about LinkedIn Learning. You can take some LinkedIn Learning courses. You can take one on teamwork. You can take one on communication skills. And so you can post those inside. And if you have any other questions regarding that, you can always come to the Career Center, make an appointment with a career counselor, because the time is now, since you are, we've just had Tech Fest, and you might want to connect with some of those employers that were at Tech Fest to apply for positions as well. Okay.
Okay. And someone graduated back in May 2022. They're
Mhm.
planning to apply for a master's program, but they don't have any internship experience. They're asking how can they sign up for one, and do they have to be a current student somewhere?
Okay. I think this is a bigger question, and I would recommend you bring that into uh, a, a counseling a counseling appointment, or possibly in a drop-in situation. But it depends on the type of internship you want. So depending on what you're applying for in your master's. So let's say you want to get your master's in social work, okay, but you don't have any experience working in a clinic or with children or any of that. You could apply for internships to those organizations directly. Um, you can gain some experience that way. And if you need to get academic credit, I would recommend going to community college, because it's not too expensive for you to apply for it, rather than enrolling in a, you wouldn't be able to enroll in an internship course here. So the option isn't available to you at CSUN, but it is available at a community college, and then you can connect with many different organizations. Okay, do we have any more questions?
Yes, we have a bit more.
Okay, so I'll take one more question, and one or two more questions. And then from there, oh my goodness. Yes, look at that from Diana. She says that she was applying for a master's in social work. So there are a lot of places where you can volunteer. So even if you can't find an internship, you can always, there are a lot of places where you can find opportunities to volunteer. Okay, so the last question, go ahead.
Yes. How many months should one wait to apply and do internships after joining graduation?
So you've declared that you're going to graduate. I'm a little confused about the question. Have that person send me an email, and maybe I can take one other question.
Yeah, of course, Jan. And the next question after that is, let me see here. Um, okay, this person says they applied for internships 2 weeks ago and they have not reached out to them yet. What should they do next?
Follow up. Try to follow up and find out if they've hired for that position. A lot of things can happen, and why you might not hear back from an employer. It could be the person that was in charge of that left the company. It could be that the person that was in charge of it went on maternity leave, or maybe that person's supervisor has gone on to do something else, and so they're holding on. They're in a holding pattern, hiring interns. So it's really trying to follow up with the company the best that you can. And like I said, for that other student, please email me, because I think we can get it clearer, and I can give you a more concise answer about your internship question that you had. I saw you kept posting, but just you can intern. The best way to email me is to go to intern@csun.edu. You can send an email to intern@csun.edu. And that's really, that's my simple email. My name is a little more complicated. So one last question, and that will wrap it up.
Okay. Next question is, can students access CareerLink and Handshake websites after graduation?
Yes, you can. But after, what you will need to do is You will no longer have your CSUN email address. So you will need to change your email address inside Handshake. And you after you graduate, you can also access CareerLink, but if you go into CareerLink right now, there should be someone that you can email and let them know you're going to be graduating, and could you be added to the database, basically. And the same thing will happen inside Handshake. You just change up an email address because you, as a graduate, you will have free access to Handshake, as well as our events. You can come to our events, our job fairs, and even events like this. They're open to you to learn about. So definitely check into it. If you're having trouble, you can always call our front desk, or you can email our front desk, which is career.center@csun.edu. That's career.center@csun.edu. If you're having any challenges, you can always, you can either email them, or you can email intern@csun.edu. Okay, thank you so much. Can you put that in the chat? And if you'll put it in the chat, and what we're going to do is copy the questions
Yes, Jen.
that are in the chat, so we can try to answer them for you. It probably won't happen tomorrow, but next week we'll start answering those questions for you. And then also know that our Career Center is a resource for you. And I thank you for coming. Next up at 2:00, we will have HACU, which is the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities. They have a great internship program. They're going to talk about their program. And then at 4:00, we have a session on creating your LinkedIn profile. So I hope to see you there.